Welcome to clinicalclassroom.com, or if you're coming to us from TPT, then the clinical teacher. We're going to be quickly going over our reading curriculum mapping and sorting tool. If you've already seen our mathematics tool or our writing tool, this is very similar. If you haven't seen either of those, I strongly recommend you have a look. These are our more advanced curriculum sorting tools. They're very good about taking the information you have from your assessments, aiming to have outcomes met at your grade levels, and really matching them up with your F&P system. So if you currently use Fountas and Pinnell or F&P for Readers or Writers Workshop, which if you don't, I thoroughly recommend that you do. Amazing systems, amazing tools, amazing programs. This is meant to connect those to an easier way to filter through their outcomes to make it so you can simply, quickly have some outcomes based on conferences you're going to have, small group settings, setting outcomes for mini lessons. So this is an exceptional tool for doing that. I'm currently using the version of this tool with a macro. There are two versions you have. If you do have a macro, you often will see it ask for enabling content. The macro just simply lets you filter between full screen and standard screen. Standard screen looks like the normal Excel. Full screen, obviously, a little bit bigger and a little bit better. This is meant to work much like the maths tool, like its own individual application. It's a little bit less like an Excel spreadsheet and a little bit more like an application. This is sorted based on the structures that you see in your Fountas Pinnell. So you have the 5 wedges or the 5 sections that go within text. You have your 4, which work with beyond text, and you have your 2 about the text. And obviously increasing levels of difficulty. You also have a section that works for all progressions. I'm going to quickly just jump to one of these sections so you get an idea of what they look like. I've given these, there are 3 main boxes for these. They give you the ability to look at the outcomes either by grade level, by letter, so if you're looking at their reading level, letter level, and based on whether it's new or review. At each level, there are certain outcomes that are introduced. Those are new. There are other outcomes that are review. I'll give you an idea of what this looks like. If I were looking at grade 4, you'll see it specifically sorts everything to QRS. Those are the banded levels that specifically work towards that grade level. You'll see some are gray, some are white. The gray is the review. The white is the new. You can see as I click on those, it sorts those. This is extremely helpful when we're just looking to introduce new information. You can see that when I have all of the information included, this list of outcomes is substantial. It's substantial because there is a significant amount of review built into every single level. If we just look at new, you'll see those outcomes shrink significantly. So when we're talking about teaching these explicit outcomes for each grade level, it becomes very useful to have a tool like this because it helps you very quickly sort through what is it I exactly need this individual student to learn, this small group to be focusing on, or my whole class to be taking in right now. These obviously, I'm quickly showing you how we clear our filters. You can jump back to your home page. You can flip through to any of these outcomes and goals. These are very good to have open and in front of you, especially when you're working with a student. I know that student's a Q. I quickly notice that they're having difficulty with adjusting. I want to look at what their new outcomes are at Q. Here we go. I've got my 3. I can clear that filter. Suddenly a new student comes up. We're going to start with adjusting, but I realize that they're really struggling making connections. They're an O, which automatically tells me they're at grade level 3. I only want to look at the new information. There's no new. We're only working on review information. I can up a level to look at new. That's when we see some new outcomes appear. Or I could go back to, that level and specifically look at review, and then I can see what's reviewed in that level. This is by far my favorite of my reading tools. It's extremely elaborate. It's extremely useful. It's very helpful, especially if you use the F&P kits. I strongly recommend that you get it. And if you have any questions or concerns or any troubles in using it, let us know. And obviously, you know, this works really well in conjunction with the kits. Not as useful without the kits. So definitely also recommend that you should be using the F&P kits. Great assessment, great tool. only needs a little bit of working to make it a little more useful, and that's where this comes in. Again, if you have any questions, concerns, you can email us at theclinicalteacher@gmail.com. You can get a hold of us through the website. That's theclinicalclassroom.com. Or you can access us through the TPT site. So it's Teachers Pay Teachers at The Clinical Teacher. Look forward to hearing from you, and I really appreciate you buying the tool and looking into what we do here. Thanks again, and take care.